Welcome to today's episode of the Deep Dive Credit Podcast, presented by Elite Credit Solutions. We are your trusted partner in affordable credit repair, proudly based in Tampa, Florida, and dedicated to serving clients across the entire United States. Join us as we explore the intricacies of credit management, share expert insights, and empower you with the knowledge you need to achieve your financial goals. Get ready for an enlightening journey into the world of credit. Let's dive in.
So let's dive into talking about car insurance.
Ooh, fun.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Not exactly the most, glamorous topic.
Right.
But, it's one of those necessities in life.
It is.
And it seems like it's something that a lot of people are really struggling with right now.
It's true.
And you've let us know that it's top of mind for you as well.
For sure.
So we found this great article called What to Do If You Can't Afford Car Insurance.
Okay.
And we're going to break it down and see if we can find some real actionable steps that you can take to maybe find some relief.
Love it.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
So before we dive into the tips and tricks, I think it's always good to kind of remind ourselves why car insurance is so important in the first place.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. It's easy to just think about it as another bill to pay each month.
Right.
But it's really about protecting yourself financially.
Yeah.
Like most states require that liability insurance at a bare minimum. And that's not just about avoiding getting a ticket.
Right.
It's about protecting yourself from those huge potential costs if you're ever in an accident.
Right. If you cause an accident, God forbid.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. Medical bills, car repairs, legal fees, all that stuff can add up so quickly.
And they're not kidding. Those costs can get astronomical.
Oh, they can be crazy.
Yeah.
And without insurance, you're on the hook for all of it.
Yeah. And we're not just talking about a fender bender either, right?
No, not at all.
I mean, even a relatively minor accident can lead to serious expenses.
It's true.
Especially with, medical costs these days.
Yeah, especially with, those hidden things that you don't even think about at the moment. If someone needs ongoing physical therapy or something like that.
Right. Or if there's lost wages.
Oh, yeah.
Because they can't work.
Absolutely.
It's a big deal.
It's not just about fixing the car. It's about the ripple effects.
Yeah, the ripple effects. Exactly.
Yeah. And not to mention, in some cases, you could even face license suspension or even jail time.
Okay, so this is serious business.
It is serious business.
So we've established car insurance is important.
Very important.
We've got to figure out a way to make it work.
We do.
So let's get into these tips.
Okay.
See what this article has to offer.
Yeah.
The first one they talk about is adjusting your budget.
Okay.
Which I know is kind of the go-to advice for everything, right?
Right. It's just, spend less.
Right.
But I'm hoping this article goes a little deeper than that.
Me too, because I think we all know we should spend less.
Yeah.
But it's how...
How do you actually do it right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see what they have to say.
I am too.
So they talk about focusing on discretionary spending.
Okay.
Which I think is interesting because it's not about cutting out everything.
Right.
It's about looking at those areas where you have a little more wiggle room.
Yeah, so it's not necessarily you can't have any fun. It's just being more mindful about those choices.
Yeah, so instead of saying no more eating out ever.
Right.
It's okay, maybe I don't need to go to that fancy coffee shop every single day.
Exactly. Or, maybe I can make coffee at home a couple days a week.
Right.
Little things like that.
Yeah, or those subscription services that we all sign up for and then forget about.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah.
I'm so guilty of that.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, there's probably $10 a month right there that you could be saving.
Right, or that impulse online shopping.
Oh yeah, the doom scrolling and shopping.
Yes.
That's dangerous.
So it's about making conscious choices about where your money's going.
Exactly. It's about empowerment.
Yeah.
Taking control of your finances. Instead of feeling like you're a victim of them.
Yeah.
Finding those areas where you can free up some cash without feeling like you're, like I said, depriving yourself of everything.
Okay, that's a good starting point.
Yeah, I like that approach.
What else is on this list of magic?
Okay, well, this one is a classic.
Okay.
Increasing your deductible.
Yes, the good old deductible.
The dreaded deductible.
Yeah.
But it's a trade-off, right?
Right.
Higher deductible usually means lower monthly premiums.
Right. But if something happens...
But then you're paying more out of pocket.
Yeah.
If you actually need to use your insurance.
But the article actually throws out some pretty compelling numbers.
Oh, really?
What? So, they say that increasing your deductible from, let's say, $250 to $500 could potentially reduce your collision and comprehensive coverage costs by 15 to 30%.
15 to 30%. That's significant.
Yeah, that's not nothing.
That's not nothing.
So, I mean, it's tempting, right?
It is tempting, but you got to make sure you have the savings to actually cover that higher deductible.
Yeah, that's the catch.
Right. If you don't have that money set aside,
right,
kind of defeats the purpose.
Yeah, you don't want to end up in a situation where you're like, oh, great, I saved $20 a month. But now I have a $2,000 bill.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's about finding that balance.
Okay, so it's a balancing act.
It is a balancing act for sure.
All right, so we've talked about adjusting the budget, tweaking the deductible. What about reducing coverage?
Ooh, that's a scary one for some people.
Yeah, I think a lot of people get nervous about that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to skimp on coverage,
right?
But I also need to be able to afford it.
Exactly, and that's where it gets tricky, right? But the article makes it very clear that you should always maintain at least the minimum liability coverage required by your state.
Right. That's non-negotiable.
Non-negotiable. You have to have that.
Yeah.
But there are some areas where you might have more flexibility.
Okay, like what?
Especially if you have an older car. Or like that's paid off.
Yeah. So like if you're driving around in like a, 15-year-old Honda Civic that you bought for like $2,000.
Exactly. Do you really need all the bells and whistles?
Okay, so like maybe dropping collision and comprehensive coverage on a car that's not worth a ton.
Yeah, and the article gives this great example.
Okay.
Imagine you have a $500 deductible.
Okay.
And your car's only worth like $2,000.
Right.
So if it gets totaled, the most insurance would pay is $1,500.
Right.
But you might end up paying more than that in premiums over a year anyway.
That's a good point.
It is a good point.
That's like, why even bother?
Exactly.
Okay, so again, it comes down to like weighing the potential savings against the risk.
Right. What's your risk tolerance?
Yeah, and like your individual situation.
Right. Like if that car is your only means of getting to work.
Right, and you don't have like a backup plan.
Exactly.
Yeah, maybe you want to think twice about dropping that coverage.
Probably.
Yeah, okay.
So it's all about, taking a look at your own situation.
Okay, so we've talked about adjusting the budget, tweaking the deductible, and possibly reducing coverage. What other strategies does this article have up its sleeve?
Well, if you're not comfortable cutting major coverage, they suggest fine-tuning your policy by dropping those extra add-ons. All those extras.
So like the bells and whistles?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like rental reimbursement, windshield replacement, roadside assistance, all those extra little things that can add up.
Okay.
Yeah, and sometimes you don't even realize you're paying for them.
Right.
Because they just kind of sneak them in there.
Yeah, or, you signed up for them like 5 years ago.
Right, and you've totally forgotten about it.
You're like, why is my bill so high?
Exactly.
Okay, so if you're not comfortable reducing your core coverage, maybe you can find some savings by like trimming the fat.
Trim the fat, exactly.
Yeah.
And remember, you've already analyzed your budget at this point.
Right.
So you have a clearer picture of like what's truly essential and what you can afford to potentially cut back on.
Yeah, I like that. It's like a step-by-step process.
It is.
To like taking control of your insurance costs.
It's about being proactive.
Yeah.
And making informed choices.
I like that.
Yeah.
Instead of just like being reactive and like, oh my God, my bill went up. What do I do?
Throwing your hands up in the air.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's a process that empowers you to make those choices based on your individual needs and your financial situation.
Absolutely.
Okay. I'm liking this article so far.
Me too. Me too.
Let's keep digging in.
Okay. Sounds good.
All right. I'm really liking how practical this article is.
Yeah, me too.
It's like they're actually giving us some like real world advice here.
Right. It's not just a bunch of like vague suggestions.
Yeah, exactly. What else do they suggest?
Okay. So this one is more about being proactive.
All right. I like that.
It's time for a discount hunt.
Ooh.
It's like a game.
I like games.
Yeah.
So,
to see how much you can shave off those premiums.
Yeah. How low can you go?
Right. Exactly. So think about like safe driver discounts, good student discounts, if you have like a teenager on your policy.
Yeah.
Or even multi-policy discounts if you bundle your home and auto insurance with the same company.
Oh, yeah. Those bundling discounts can be pretty sweet.
Yeah, they can.
Yeah. I've definitely gotten those before.
Yeah, I think I even heard of discounts for things like having an anti-theft device in your car.
Really?
Yeah, like if you have a car alarm or something like that.
That's interesting. I'm going to have to look into that.
Yeah, for sure. And then there's this whole world of like telematics programs.
Telematics program.
Have you heard of these?
I've heard of them, but I don't really know what they are.
Okay, so basically it's where you allow your insurer to track your driving habits.
Ooh, that sounds kind of Big Brother-y.
I know, right? A little creepy. But in exchange for that, they might offer you some savings on your premiums.
So it's like they're watching you to make sure you're being a good driver.
Yeah. It's kind of like having a co-pilot who's really invested in you driving safely.
I guess if you're a really good driver, it could be a good thing.
Yeah, if you're like super confident in your driving skills,
right?
It could pay off.
Okay.
But yeah, it's definitely something to consider, the privacy implications there.
Yeah.
But it's an option.
It seems like there are a lot of different discounts out there.
There are a ton.
But it's kind of hard to keep track of them all.
It is.
Like, do you just have to, like, call every insurance company and be like, hey, what do you got?
Pretty much.
Yeah? Okay.
My article suggests, just like calling your insurance company and being like, hey, what discounts do I qualify for?
Sure.
You might be surprised at what they offer.
All right. I'm writing that down. Call and ask about discounts. Check.
Check.
All right. What's next on our list of cost-saving strategies?
Okay, so this one might actually align with some of your other goals in life.
Okay. I like that.
Drive less, save more.
Ooh. Okay.
With gas prices being what they are these days.
Oh, don't even get me started on gas prices.
I know, right? It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So maybe you've already been thinking about ways to cut back on driving.
I have. Like, I work from home a couple days a week now.
Oh, there you go.
So I'm definitely driving less.
Well, it turns out a lot of insurers actually offer low mileage discounts.
Really?
Right.
So they actually reward you for driving less.
They do. If you drive less than a certain number of miles per year, they'll give you a discount.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
See, this is why we do these deep dives.
Exactly. Knowledge is power.
All right. So low mileage discounts. What else?
And then there's this whole other model called pay-per-mile insurance.
Pay-per-mile?
Yeah. Have you heard of that?
I've heard of it, but I don't really know how it works.
So basically, you pay like a base rate.
Okay.
And then you pay a little bit extra for each mile that you drive.
So it's like a subscription.
Kind of.
Yeah.
But for driving.
Exactly. So if you're someone who doesn't drive a lot.
Right. Like you said, you work from home a couple days a week.
Yeah.
Maybe you only use your car for like errands and stuff.
Yeah.
That could be a really good option.
Huh.
It could save you a lot of money.
So not only are you saving money on gas,
right,
but you're saving money on insurance too.
You are.
Wow.
It's like a win-win.
I like it.
Yeah.
So it's not just about finding a cheaper insurance policy. Yeah. It's like rethinking how you use your car in the first place.
It's about changing your habits.
Yeah.
And potentially saving money in multiple ways.
Okay, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
I like that perspective.
I do too.
So we've talked about tweaking your existing policy.
Yeah.
We've talked about driving less.
Uh-huh.
What about a more drastic measure?
Okay.
Like changing vehicles.
Oh, that's a big decision.
Yes.
Not a quick fix, but the type of car you drive can significantly impact your insurance rates.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, like if you're driving around in a brand new sports car, your insurance is going to be way higher.
Because you're more likely to
get into an accident.
Yeah, or like speed.
Right, or like,
Yeah, just like risky behavior.
Exactly.
Yeah, so trading in that sports car for like a more practical sedan could lead to some serious savings.
It could, but of course you have to weigh the potential savings against the cost of actually buying a new car.
Right, that's the catch.
Yeah.
I mean, I would love to get a new car.
Right.
But I'm not sure I can afford a new car and cheaper insurance.
Oh, exactly.
So it's like it's a dilemma.
It is a dilemma.
Yeah.
And that's where it's helpful to have like a good financial advisor.
Right, like someone who can look at the big picture and be like, okay, is this actually a good move for you?
Yeah, this is going to save you money in the long run.
Okay, so we've talked about tweaking your existing policy.
Yeah.
We've talked about potentially changing your car. What about just like finding a whole new insurance company?
Oh, that's a great point.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to shop around.
Yeah.
Get quotes from multiple companies.
Okay.
Compare prices, compare coverage options.
It's like anything else, right?
Yeah.
Like you wouldn't just go with the first, airline ticket you see.
Right.
You would shop around.
Exactly. You want to find the best deal.
But I imagine it can be kind of overwhelming.
It can be.
To like sift through all those quotes.
Yeah.
And like make sure you're comparing apples to apples.
All right. It's because sometimes the coverage is different.
Right.
And you want to make sure you're getting the same level of coverage when you're comparing those prices.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. So don't just look at the bottom line.
Right.
Look at what's actually included.
Okay.
And that's where like online comparison tools can be really helpful.
Oh, okay.
Have you ever used one of those?
I've seen them advertised, but I've never actually used one.
Okay, so basically you just plug in your information.
Okay.
And they'll give you quotes from like a bunch of different companies.
So you don't have to like go to each individual website?
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay, that sounds a lot easier.
It is a lot easier.
Yeah.
It takes all the hassle out of it.
Okay. So shop around, use comparison tools. Check.
Check.
All right, are we done with the tips, or does this article have any more wisdom to impart?
Okay. There's one more connection they make that might surprise you.
Okay. I'm intrigued.
Your credit score.
Ooh, credit score and car insurance.
Yeah?
I've heard about this.
Yeah. Have you heard of credit-based insurance scores?
Yeah, I think that's what they call it.
Yeah. So it's not exactly the same as your like regular credit score.
Okay.
But improving your overall credit health can have a positive impact.
So it's like if you're good with money in general,
Right.
they assume you're going to be good with your car insurance.
So they're like, well, if you're responsible with your finances,
Yeah.
you're probably going to be a responsible driver.
Okay, so things like paying your bills on time,
Uh-huh.
reducing credit card debt,
Yeah, all that good stuff.
that can actually lead to lower car insurance rates.
In many states, yes.
It's all tied back to that idea of building good financial habits.
Yeah.
It's like a ripple effect.
I like that.
Yeah, it touches different areas of your life.
So being good with money can actually save you money on your car insurance.
It can.
Who knew?
It's like a hidden benefit.
Okay. I'm really liking how this article like goes beyond just like the surface level tips.
Yeah, me too.
And really encourages you to think about like the bigger picture.
It's about your overall financial health.
Yeah, it's not just about like finding a quick fix.
Right.
It's about like creating a more solid foundation.
Exactly. And you know what's really encouraging is that all of this just highlights the fact that you have more control over your car insurance costs than you might think.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
It's not about being at the mercy of the insurance companies.
It's about taking charge.
It's about being proactive, making informed choices, and finding solutions that align with your individual needs and circumstances.
That's a mouthful, but it's true.
It's a mouthful, but it's good.
It's good.
Okay, I'm feeling way more empowered now than I was at the beginning of this deep dive.
You too?
Like, I feel like I have an actual plan of attack for tackling these car insurance costs.
That's awesome.
But I have to admit, there's a part of me that's like, okay, what if I've tried all these tips and I'm still struggling?
That's a great question.
Are there any other options out there?
There are.
Okay, good.
And it's important to remember that you're not alone in this. A lot of people are in the same boat.
Yeah.
So, don't feel discouraged.
Okay.
There are resources out there.
So, like, what kind of resources?
Well, one thing you might want to look into is whether your state has any programs specifically designed to help, like, low-income drivers
Oh, okay.
access affordable insurance.
So it's like you got to do a little research.
Yeah, a little digging.
See what's available in your area.
Exactly.
So like checking with your state's insurance department or
Right.
like consumer protection agency.
Yep, all those good places.
Oh, okay.
They might have some resources that you're not even aware of.
Yeah, like those hidden gems that nobody tells you about.
Exactly.
Okay.
So definitely worth exploring those options.
It's like a reminder that like sometimes the best solutions are the ones that are really specific to
Right.
your situation,
Oh,
your
yeah.
location, all
Yeah.
that good stuff.
Yeah. And while we're on the topic of like digging a little deeper,
Okay.
have you ever heard of temporary car insurance?
Temporary car insurance?
Yeah.
I don't think I've heard of that.
Okay, so basically
What is that?
it's for those situations where you just need coverage for like a short period of time.
Oh, yeah.
Like maybe a few weeks or a couple months.
Yeah.
It could be like while you're waiting for a new policy to start,
Right.
or if you're borrowing a car for a road trip or something like that.
Okay, so it's like a little gap filler.
Yeah, it's like a bridge
Okay.
to get you from point A to point B.
So like if your current policy is expiring and you need a little bit more time to shop around for a new one.
Exactly.
Okay, that's a good to know.
Yeah. Definitely a good option to have in your back pocket.
So it's not a long-term solution,
Right.
but it could be like a lifesaver in certain situations.
It can be.
Okay.
But you do need to be aware that temporary insurance often comes with higher premiums
Okay.
compared to traditional policies.
Right.
And the coverage might be more limited.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
It's like the express lane at the grocery store.
Oh, I like that.
You know, it's convenient if you just need to grab like a couple of things.
Right.
But you're going to pay a premium for that convenience.
Exactly. A great analogy.
Yeah, and it highlights the importance of like really reading the fine print
Absolutely.
with any insurance policy.
Always read the fine print.
before you sign on the dotted line.
Yes, very important.
Okay, so we've talked about like state-specific programs. We've talked about temporary insurance as options. What if like somebody's feeling totally overwhelmed by all of this?
Okay.
And just needs like some personalized guidance.
Yeah.
Where should they turn?
Sometimes the best thing you can do is just reach out to a professional.
Okay.
Think about it like this.
Okay.
If you were having car trouble,
Yeah.
you wouldn't hesitate to take it to a mechanic, right?
Right.
Well, when it comes to navigating the complexities of car insurance,
Yeah.
an insurance agent or a financial advisor
Okay.
can be your trusted mechanic.
I love that analogy.
Yeah.
So like an insurance agent can help you like understand
Yeah.
the ins and outs of different policies,
Right.
explore potential discounts.
Yeah.
And basically like find a policy that fits your needs and your budget.
Exactly. They're like your insurance Sherpa,
Okay.
guiding you through the process.
So they're like holding your hand and making sure you don't fall off the cliff.
Exactly.
I like it.
And a financial advisor can help you look at your overall financial situation.
Okay.
Maybe identify some areas where you can free up some cash.
Yeah.
And create a plan for like achieving your financial goals.
That's great advice.
Yeah,
Sometimes like having that expert guidance can make all the difference.
absolutely. It's like having someone in your corner who understands the rules of the game
Yeah.
and can help you play it strategically.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Speaking of playing the game strategically,
Right.
let's not forget about like one of the most effective ways to lower your insurance costs and stay safe on the road, which
By
is like
driving safely.
driving safely. Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah.
Not only is it like the responsible thing to do,
Right.
but it can actually save you money in the long run.
Yeah, for sure.
Maintaining a clean driving record
Yeah.
can help you qualify for those safe driver discounts,
Uh,
keep your premiums low,
yeah.
and even prevent potential increases in your rates.
It's a win-win.
It is a win-win.
So it's not just about like being a cautious driver.
Right.
It's about being like a financially savvy driver.
Yes, exactly.
It's like all those good habits that your parents tried to instill in you when you were first learning to drive,
I love that.
like actually pay off in adulthood.
Yeah.
They do. It all comes full circle.
All right, so we've covered a lot of ground today,
We have.
from like practical tips to like bigger picture trends.
Mhm.
If somebody's feeling a little overwhelmed by all this information,
Okay.
what's the one piece of advice that you would leave them with?
Take a deep breath.
Okay.
And remember, you don't have to do everything at once.
Right.
Just start with one small step,
Yeah.
whether it's analyzing your budget,
Okay.
calling your insurance company for discounts,
Mm-hmm.
or checking out one of those online comparison tools.
Okay.
Just start somewhere.
Yeah.
Build momentum from there.
And remember, you're not alone in this journey.
You are not alone.
There are resources available
Lots of resources.
to help you every step of the way.
Absolutely.
All right, that's great advice.
Thank you.
It's about like breaking down this like seemingly daunting task
Right.
into like manageable steps
Yeah.
and finding those resources
Okay.
that can support you along the way. And hey, if you need a refresher on any of the tips we've covered today,
Yeah.
you can always revisit this deep dive
We're always here for you.
and let us be your guide.
Exactly.
We're here to help you navigate the wild world of car insurance
Absolutely.
and make it a little less daunting.
One step at a time.
One step at a time. I like it.
That's it.
All right, thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
Thanks for having me.
We'll see you next time.
See you later.
Wraps up another insightful episode of the Deep Dive Credit Podcast, brought to you by Elite Credit Solutions, your go-to resource for affordable credit repair across the United States. We appreciate you joining us today, and we hope you found the information valuable and empowering. If you're ready to take control of your financial future, don't hesitate to reach out to us at 813-317-6776. Additionally, don't forget to like today's podcast, share with your friends on social media, follow us, and subscribe to our YouTube channel to stay in tune with future updates. Thank you for listening, and until next time, keep striving for excellence in your credit journey.